All right, so one of the biggest things you're gonna hear many times when you're wanting to become a home buyer is how student loans could affect you getting approved, right? And maybe keeping you from getting approved. And it's a scary topic, but in this video, I'm gonna break down everything you need to know when it comes to student loans and you getting a mortgage. Let's talk about student loans. The first myth that you're probably gonna hear is that you have too much in student loans. The truth that matters when it comes to mortgages, we're not looking at the balance of your student loans. I've done loans for doctors that had $300,000 in student loan debt, and it didn't matter. It's the payment, which we're gonna go over in a second. So if you have a large amount of student loans, that doesn't mean it's gonna keep you from getting approved. The next thing is figuring out the payment if your student loans are deferred. If you have payments on your student loans, those payments are considered as part of your debt to income ratio. So whatever your payment is, that's what counts. Let's talk about if they're deferred student loans. Depends on the loan type. So if it's a deferred student loan, and right now you don't have a payment, that doesn't mean that a payment's not gonna be counted against you. On FHA, 0.5% of the balance is gonna be your payment. So on a $100,000 student loan, that's a $500 payment. On conventional, it may be 1% or 0.5%. It depends on what type of conventional loan you're doing, a Fannie Mae or a Freddie Mac. On a VA loan, it's a little bit more involved. So if your deferred student loan is deferred a year past your closing date on your mortgage, no payment is counted against you. If it's not, then it's gonna take a 5% of the balance divided by 12, gives you a payment. So on $25,000 balance, that's about a $100 payment that's gonna be counting your debt to income ratio. And let me stop and tell you this, as part of getting pre-approved for a mortgage, the lender is taking these things into account, right? So don't think that it's on you to figure it out. Now, let's talk about if you messed up on a student loan and you didn't pay it, right? If it's a government-backed student loan, it's going to become an issue for you on an FHA or a VA loan because a report that's called a CAVERS report is pulled to see if you ever defaulted on government loans. Government-backed student loans would be one of them. So if you messed up, you didn't pay on it, and now it's in collection, charge off any of those things you defaulted, that's gonna have to get rectified for an FHA or a VA loan, but wouldn't for a conventional loan. So something to think about, if you defaulted on one 10 years ago, it's probably not even gonna be an issue doing a conventional loan. And then also know this, when it comes to student loans, depending on the loan type that you do, if your parents or somebody else is paying the student loan for you, sometimes we'll see this when a kid comes out of college in the first year or two, they've got student loans, but the parents are making the payments to help them out. If that's the case, that payment is not counted against you when it comes to qualifying for a mortgage. So that's something to think about, is maybe have your parents help you out. That's gonna help you get pre-approved for a mortgage or buy more home. And make sure your loan officer knows that when you go to do your loan application, because it's not gonna be obvious by looking at the credit report, okay? So there's a lot of myths. A lot of them are not true when it comes to student loans and what can hinder or help you and get pre-approved for your mortgage. And I want to break all that down right here. Hope you found that information helpful. If you did, I'd love to be your lender, and stick around for this next video. I think you're going to like it.